it's interesting you bring this up because I have a rule. I have a rule that I follow.
Okay.
You want the rule?
Yeah, go ahead. You share
80
yours, I'll share mine.
Okay, 80% and get it done. Get it out. Hello, everybody. It's Sean Moudry here, and we are back again to hopefully inspire some salespeople to, let's face it, have a better experience in sales, have better careers, maybe have some fulfillment, some passion, some success in real estate. And I want to introduce you once again to Mo, coming to us from Cairo. Say good morning, Mo.
Good morning, everyone. This is Mo speaking with you. Once again, we are here with Sean, and today we are talking about something that is very, very special to myself because I have been ruined because of it several times. So, today we are talking about something that is very interesting, something that I think many people suffer from its existence, right? So, today we're talking about perfectionism and how it can impact your life and how it can impact your sales life. So yeah, this is for today's topic.
You know what I find really interesting about this conversation is you didn't want to talk about this before we got on camera today. And I find that really interesting because normally we talk a little bit about our subject, but today you said, I don't want to talk about this. Let's get on camera and talk about this. So, is there something specific going on that you want to talk about?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. So, I myself I've been suffering from perfectionism like several times in my life, right? So when I first learned about this new way of bypassing perfectionism, I was mind blown. Like, why am I not doing this before? How did I not think about this, right? And in for those of us who are listening to us right now or watching us right now, if you remember the first episode, we talked about the kind of BS when it clouds the vision. It's the same thing here. The same thing with this. When you are having this kind of perfectionism mindset, you are disregarding almost every opportunity and focusing on just one, right? And this is
Hold
really
on,
what
hold on.
drags you. Yeah,
You're skipping over the point though, because
I feel so.
you you started off telling us that yes, you saw. Give us an example. Give us an example. Be transparent. Be vulnerable for a minute and tell us an example where of what you mean because I don't think everybody thinks perfectionism is negative. And I personally don't think it's necessarily negative if it's used correctly.
Oh,
Okay?
oh.
But give us an example of what you're specifically talking about because I think some of us are confused, including myself.
Okay, it is something that is related to my college. So there was this one presentation that I had, and it was the subject was in communication. Okay, so we were a group of I think 12, and I was the leader of the group, and I just wanted everything to be perfect. And I thought that everything will be perfect, but I didn't think of any other circumstances. So we were 12 people. The number of people who actually worked on this presentation and this project are just four, right?
Okay.
So it was me and two or three more people working really hard on this, and again I was in it with this kind of mindset that everything is going to be fine, everything is going to be working all great, and it didn't turn out that way at all. In fact, what happened is at the night before the presentation, we were in a group chat, and supposedly the 12 people were in the actual group chat, right? But out of nowhere, there's this one guy that showed up, and he said, "Hey guys, I want to present too." And we were like, "Who are you?" Really? Who are you? We already planned everything. We already thought of everything. We had the scripts. We even thought of the tone of specific words that we were going to mention in the presentation. And this guy just showed up the night before the presentation, and he was like, "Okay, you gotta get me in, or
Yeah.
I'm going to be escalating this to the professor." And we had to get him in. There was no other option, unfortunately. And
So hold on. Let me
okay,
get this straight. So you have a presentation. There's 12 people.
yeah,
Four the
the group
work.
was 12 people in order to craft this kind of presentation.
Yeah, yeah. So four of you are doing the work. So four of you are controlling it,
Yeah,
right? You're all control freaks. So you four freaks are trying to control everything,
yeah.
excluding the other eight. And then one of the eight actually says, "Hey, I actually want to be involved," and screwed up your controlling plans. Is that what happened?
Okay, so what happened exactly is that initially we were like in the first month, we had 3 months to finish this, right? So in the first month, we were going back and forth with, like, I was going back and forth with everyone and really trying to get everyone involved as the professor wants, right? But what turned out is some of them have like other classes clashing with the times, and some of them were just, no, you guys do the work, I'll just take the marks. So yeah, so we kept inviting people. Like, honestly, I kept inviting people. I never said no to
I
anyone.
don't believe that, but
Yeah, me too. No, I'm joking. I genuinely did invite everyone, and again, some people used to show up, but no one stick till the end, right? No one really committed to this.
so how does this relate to perfectionism?
Yeah, that's this is what I'm
I
trying
mean,
to.
it seems more controlling to me than perfectionism.
because because what I was thinking of is okay. So what happened is this other guy, the other presenter that came out of nowhere. So he was taking like the first, I don't know, like 4 to 5 minutes of the presentation, and then I readjusted my plan so that the last 5 or 4 minutes of the presentation will be fixing whatever is going to go wrong. And with that thought in mind, I did even worse than what I was supposed to do. So what I'm trying to point people to is one of the reasons behind me also failing. I don't want to say just failing, but I tried. One of the reasons that it didn't go as what I thought it would be is because I didn't practice enough. I just was I was with this kind of mindset that no, I just know it's going to work. Everything is perfect. Well, we thought of this, we thought of that, we thought of that, and in fact, we didn't thought of many things. We just thought of few things and thought that this is everything, you know. So remember thing.
So again, is that perfectionism? Is
Yeah,
that
perfectionism to me is trying to make things more than 100%. And this is what we are going to be focusing on today is when you are going to be working on anything, a project, you already have work to do, something that you will be evaluating. Don't put 100% as your goal. Just do what it is. Do what it is you are going to do. Because if you are going to be saying to yourself, 100% is my goal, and then procrastination will show up, and then you will find excuses for yourself, and you will keep self rejecting yourself in a way that you will still not reach perfectionism. In
so,
some
so let's
cases,
tie
yeah,
this
go ahead.
so let's tie this back to sales. So here's how it shows up in sales, right?
Yeah,
When you're new, I'm not ready to talk to anybody until I have my scripts down, right?
Yeah,
Or I
yeah,
look right, or I sound right, or I know my presentation, or I know my product or my service 100%,
yeah.
right? That's how it shows up in starting your sales, right?
Yes, yes.
Um, it, it can also show up in ways of like when it comes to marketing, right? Like people with their marketing get so hung up about, oh my gosh, there was a typo, so stop the presses. There was one typo. Who cares? Like, imagine how many typos Coca-Cola's had in their, 100+ years of marketing, right? I'm sure they've had quite a few typos. It didn't
Yeah.
prevent it from success. So it's interesting you bring this up because I have a rule. I have a rule that I follow.
Okay.
You want the rule?
Yeah, go ahead. You share
80,
yours, I'll share mine.
okay, 80% and get it done. Get it out.
Oh.
80%, get it out.
Yeah,
That's
this is similar to what I think, but what I do is 70%, and then
yeah,
it's kind of interesting that you mentioned this because what I do in this case, after I do anything, any task that I have to do, okay, after I get it done, I ask myself one question, and then a series of other questions after that one. But I start with one important question: is it 70% good? Yes or no? And most of the time, the answer will be yes, right?
yeah.
And then I will start asking myself, okay, how can I make it 75% good? How can I make it 80% good? Even if I do not know what I'm measuring, I'm just measuring something that is not tangible, you know? If it's just the feeling, right? So that's how I
So,
approach it, yeah.
so in project management, okay, in project management, there's four phases, okay? There's the idea, right? And then there's what they call random, right? So you just get it to randomness. So idea is I have this idea, it may or may not work, okay?
Yeah.
Random is can I get this idea to work just a piece of it, or maybe it randomly showed up and we had this random, you know, um success, right? And then after random is a is consistent, right? So random, consistent. Can I duplicate it consistently? Then there's efficient, then there's optimal. Okay. So optimal is the point that you're trying to achieve is this optimal vision of what it looks like. But guess what is never achievable?
What?
Optimal.
Yeah.
Optimal's never achievable because as you're learning through random, consistency, efficiency, guess what you figure out is there's another level above optimal. So then optimal moves a level. Okay.
Yeah.
So optimal's the thing you're always chasing. It's an illusion. It's a mirage. The faster you chase it, the faster it moves away from you. Perfectionism, optimal. Okay. Faster it moves away. So you're always chasing it, but you never actually catch it. Okay. You never actually catch it. So this idea of waiting for perfection, okay, waiting for perfection will lead you to failure because you'll
Yeah.
never actually get there.
Yeah.
So I go back to your story. Let's go back to your story.
Okay.
And I'm going to tell a different story. I'm going to tell a different story. The reason your story feels like a failure is because how many presentations did you give?
Only one. Yeah.
Only one.
Yeah.
If you were going to give 100 presentations, then your story is a success story
Yes.
because
Yes.
you learned from it. You learned how to adapt. You learned what you knew. Because here's the thing is you said yourself, you didn't know what you didn't know until you actually did the presentation.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's called experience. Okay. That's actually what you're trying is experience, tangible, personal experience. They say that, a wise person learns from their mistakes and a genius learns from others. It's complete bullshit. Everybody learns from their own stupid mistakes,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, you could potentially learn from somebody else's, but ultimately you're probably going to step into a similar scenario that's going to make that same aha moment that other person had. So you have to go out there and have experience through repetition of process in order to become better at whatever it is you're doing. So call it your scripts, call it your marketing, call it your typos, right? I'm sure over years and years of marketing, Coca-Cola has fewer typos today than they had 60 years ago, right? And had you done your presentation, if you guys were going to give that presentation, like, you were planning on giving it 20 or 30 times over a course of a semester, then by the end, it would have been near perfect to the
Yeah.
viewer,
Yeah.
but yet still imperfect to you,
To you, yeah. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
right? Now, here's one thing that I want to make a good point on when it comes to perfection, though, is lack of perfection. When I say 80% and get it out, that does not mean I have low standards.
Yeah,
Okay?
sure.
It's 80% of my perfectionism or my optimalism,
Mm.
okay, which might be far above other people's standards. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, it does. Yeah.
80% of what's holding me up, not what other people judge of it or what actual perfection may or may not be. Because you look at some people and their level of perfection, their level of optimum, Apple, for instance, right? Look at the,
Yeah.
remember the first MP3 player that came out? What a piece of garbage that was.
I wish I did.
You don't remember?
I
They
don't,
were,
I'm too young for that.
they were horrible. They didn't have like the music's name in there. It would literally be like a number like this long, and it was like this like coded number, and that coded number represented the song. So you
Ah,
click on
yeah,
that,
yeah, yeah, yeah. I do remember
yeah,
something similar to that. Yeah.
and you could go back in and reprogram the coded number into a song. But who's going to take that time to do that? Like none of us. So what did we have on the MP3 player is all these numbers, because we ripped it off a Napster and we threw it on our MP3 player, but we had no idea what song was coming up next. We didn't have a way to really shuffle them or organize them or any of that stuff. It was garbage. And Steve Jobs said, this is garbage, right? And it's stupid little buttons, and buttons don't make sense. And he invented the first iPod, which was brilliant, right? This brilliant piece of machinery.
Yeah.
Now, if you think about Steve Jobs, what do you think he was actually trying to achieve when he developed the iPod? Do you think he was trying to develop the iPod, or do you think he was trying to develop something greater than the iPod?
No, I think he was trying to achieve a sound system, like something way bigger than the iPod.
Well, think of what came out of it,
Yeah.
right?
The iPhone, yeah.
The iPhone. So his 80% to us looks genius, right? Because he has high standards. Okay. So I want to be clear on this. When we're saying don't pursue perfectionism, we're talking about in execution. But pursue high standards. You can have high standards and yet still perform.
Yes.
Okay. Because standard, do you follow that?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Does that relate to your story? Does that tie that together?
Yeah, certainly. When looking at it like right now, when going back and looking at this right now, um, I always say this to myself. The only reason I cannot right now say any other reasons. Like back in the day, I used to say, "Oh, it's because of that guy who showed up. Oh, it's because of this. Oh, it's because of that." You know. But now I realize that the real reason is I didn't practice enough. That's it. I didn't practice enough. It was my first time doing a presentation in my life, I think, and I didn't practice enough. I only practiced once, which was live on the stage.
Well, you didn't have an opportunity to or a reason to,
Yeah.
right? You're not putting on a play You're not going to go do a Broadway play where you're going to repeat it 1,000 times. You're doing one presentation,
Yeah.
right? So their expectation wasn't there to do that.
Mm, that makes sense.
Yeah. I think perfectionism for a lot of people prevents them from doing a lot of things. I mean, you and I had talked about this podcast for a period of time.
Yeah.
And both of us got in our heads. That's what I call it, when my ego starts overriding my execution of things, right?
Yeah.
My ego being, what do other people think? What will other people think? Will I say the right things? And you and I went back and forth, not only about the name of the podcast, about our backdrops, right? What backdrop I'm thinking, should I stand? Should I sit? What should I wear today? Like all these things that get in your head around it.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the day, you and I just realized, let's just get it out, right? And we'll develop the podcast over time.
Yes.
Over time, it's going to get better. The first few episodes, I apologize now, are going to be crappy.
Yeah. Speaking of that, for the people who can see us right now, if you can compare the first episode to the second to the third, specifically with me, you can tell. This is only for those who are watching us on YouTube. You can tell that there is a ton of difference in the like the background and all of that stuff. So this didn't come like from the first day, despite the fact that I've been on doing Zoom meetings for a while right now. But I think I'm improving in terms of visuals.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And 100 episodes from now, it's going to be 100 times better. Right?
Yes.
But incremental performance over time. It's kind of like the story of I don't know if you've heard this. I think this was in the book. Maybe it was Outliers. I think it was an Outliers by Maxim Gladwell. I could be referencing the wrong book, but I believe it's in that book, where he talks about the two classes. I think this was a college, a university that said, okay, we're going to take this one group of kids and they're going to make one piece of pottery, and they're going to create one pottery, and at the end of the year it's going to be their best piece that they can make, and they all collaborated to make the most perfect piece of pottery. And then the other group, they were tasked with making the most pottery.
Right? Yeah, I know the story. Yeah, I love it. Yeah.
And at the end, what happened, Mo?
Well, what happened is the group that was charged for quantity did actually do better than the group was responsible for the quality.
That's right. Aesthetically, usability, functionability, quality, durability, they beat them on every category.
Yeah.
Because of incremental, right, adjustments that they made along the way, right? And they made multiple incremental adjustments. So if they're making 100 or 200 pieces of pottery, and every 20th one cracked in the same spot, they figured out, okay, how do we fix this so it doesn't crack? If functionally it didn't work, they tweaked it along the way. So the 200th or 300th rendition of the pottery was very different than the first one.
Yeah.
So when this comes back to sales, right? Like one of the things that you and I talk a lot about with salespeople right now is social media, right?
Yeah, sure.
Up in their head, right? They all in their head about, well, what do I say, or what do I do, or what will people think of me, or what does my backdrop look like? What is my YouTube banner supposed to look like? You're like, I did the YouTube banner. I'm like, I don't even care. I don't even care. I don't even want to see it. I really don't care. Here's the truth. It doesn't matter right now.
Yeah.
Right? We could have no banner right now, and the 4 people watching this won't care. Thanks,
yeah,
Mom,
that's true. Yeah.
for always being a viewer. So agents get so hung up, or salespeople in general get so hung up in this thing going on in their head that they never end up communicating their message. They never bring their message forth because they're in paralysis based on perfection.
Yeah, analysis paralysis mode.
Yeah. Perfection paralysis, I think, is more a more appropriate term, perfection paralysis. And this is where the 80% came from, because when I had my real estate brokerage, I had a full-time marketing person, right? She was a marketing director, and she was good at design, but she attended to make some grammar mistakes, maybe a few spelling mistakes in her marketing. And it would irate my agents. Some of my agents, not all of them, but 3 would get irate about it. A typo, a misspelling, a capitalized word that shouldn't be capitalized. Craziness, right? And they get all upset. And I'd say, you know what? Even a message that's not perfect is still a message, right? And it gets out to them, right? And I know some of you are thinking, yes, the message is you're not perfect. Well, guess what? You're not fucking perfect.
Yeah.
Just get over it. There's something in your life you're not great at. Get over it. But the fact that doesn't give you permission not to get your message out, not to do your lead generation, not to express why the hell you sell the product or service that you sell. You're still obligated to do that, or get a different freaking job. Go do something else. Like, am I wrong here?
No. Not
I mean,
at
who
all.
paints this picture that they're perfect all the time? Like, who even wants to live in that world that you're perfect all the time?
I don't know.
I don't want to live in that world. That is a highly stressful, unachieved, right?
Yeah.
And I want to say this too. If you present yourself as perfect all the time, okay, actually separating yourself from other human beings, because we all know we're fallible and imperfect. We all know that, okay? All of us know that. So if somebody presents themselves as perfect, it separates us from them.
Yeah.
It doesn't make fun of ourselves, right? Like when we make mistakes, or we do something stupid, or we do a bad typo, whatever. The fact that we can make fun of ourselves makes us human, which makes us more connectable, right? Not less connectable, right? There was a story of, I think it was Bath and Body Works. I think they did a marketing piece and they sent it out, and somehow it didn't get proofread. Have you heard this story?
No, not yet.
I might be making it up, but I've heard it. So they sent out a mailer, and there were so many typos on it that they were embarrassed, and they were like, "We're going to fire our marketing department, and this is horrible, and I can't believe this." And the marketing person said, "No, I got a better idea. Let's do a promotion that says, if you can find 5 typos on this flyer, we'll give you 20% off your next purchase." Okay?
Oh.
Well, there was more than 5 typos on the flyer. So now they got people bringing the flyer in going, "I found 5 typos." And they turned a mistake into humility. Hey, we screwed up. But our screw up is your benefit. You find 5 typos, bring it in, and we're going to give you 20% off your next purchase. And they turned it into something of a benefit, right? They didn't say, "We're so perfect, we fired our marketing department. That's unacceptable."
Something similar to this happened to a company here in Egypt. The company is called B Tech, and they are like a distributor for big tech companies like Toshiba, Dell, stuff like that. So what happened is, I think that someone hacked to their system, or this is done intentionally. I don't know, to be honest. So what happened is, there was SMS campaigns that are sent out, and the competitive edge of this company is that they do installments with the least requirements, right? So the SMS campaigns or the SMS texts were mentioning that, hey, you know that you can put your laundry on a payment plan with us? you can. We got cheap clothes for payment plans. Again, they're still investigating in this case, but look at the upside of this. The
Yeah.
Everybody is talking about it. Every single person in Egypt is talking about it. Even the media in Egypt was talking about it yesterday. So that is free press, right?
Yeah. And the key is just to accept it and be a little humble, set your ego aside, you know,
Yeah.
and move on. Because at the end of the day, you got to get it done, right?
Yeah.
You got to, for salespeople, it's about getting our message out there, right? Our message about our product and our service, our solution to our ideal customer's problem, and that we can solve that problem. Not that we're perfect, right? If you're living in the illusion that perfect, then it's not about your product and it's not about your customer. It's about you.
Yeah.
And you're going to fail. You're going to fail because of that. You know, you might get some short-term success, but overall, over time, that stress is going to erode you to the point where you're not going to be able to perform.
I recently read a case study on a famous TikTok influencer. This guy is getting 160 million views a month on his account. And he said that wasn't his first account. He just, that's the first thing that was mentioned on the case study. And he went on further to illustrate that he had 4 accounts previously owned by him prior to that one that he has right now. And what he said is he tried everything, every niche, and until he tried to some kind of understand how the algorithm of TikTok kind of works. So what he said is he initially, with the first account, he used to post 1 video per day, and it was some kind of memes, I think. 1 video per day for 30 days. And the outcome was 1,000 followers. So he did a similar thing, but he doubled the how many videos he posts a day. So he was posting 2 videos a day for 30 days, and again, same niche, memes. And this account got 5,000 followers by the end of the month, right? So he kept replicating this into similar niches, doing this process until he had this account that he has right now. It has 1.5 million followers on TikTok, and he said that he posts 20 videos a day. 20 videos a day, and he's getting 160 million views per month. So
Yeah, that's crazy. So what's
yeah.
your point there? Are you saying
So
repetition? What are you saying?
what I'm trying to say is, again, you never know until you try, and you won't be able to tell unless if you do this frequently. And most importantly than doing this frequently is, again, as you mentioned, being humble about this, not being, too critical or too optimistic too. He said, I don't know if this is going to work, but I'm just going to keep going. That's what he said. And look
Well,
where
and
he
I think
is
what I
now.
like about that story, what I like about that story is he tracked it. He was obviously
Yes.
looking for a metric.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people would have got the 1,000 followers and been like, hey, this is great, right?
Yeah.
Or 5,000. They say, hey, I got 5,000. This is great, right? 2 a day.
Yeah.
But he had an agenda in mind, right?
Yeah.
It's something he was trying to achieve. And then he executed and measured, executed and measured, executed and measured until he got something that was going to produce the result that he wanted. And like you said, that's a trial and error, right? He's not focusing on perfection. He's focusing on, obviously some other goal. I would be interested to hear what that goal was. Was it 150 million followers? Was that his goal? Was it 200,000 followers? Was it 1 billion followers? I don't know. But what was that goal that he was aspiring to achieve? And then what does that look like? Because because again, taking it back to sales, right? Taking it back to sales is I'm going to go out and I'm going to make 20 contacts today. Okay. And you go out and you take the effort and you execute on that. And you take the effort that you think is going to achieve the 20 contacts and you get 5. Okay.
Yeah.
So then you go, okay, well, that didn't work. So then you go out the next day and you try something else to get 20 contacts, right? And that day you get 6, right? And then you keep testing and trying and testing and trying until you get to that 20. But the 20 doesn't matter unless you know why you're doing 20.
Yes.
Yeah, right? Like, why was it important for him to get that many followers?
So, what he mentioned is that he had 2 main things in mind. So, number one, he wanted to know as much as he could about the TikTok algorithm and how it works.
So he was testing the algorithm, number one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Number two, he wanted to know how many views would it take to make him a living, just to keep this as something as a full time, and skip working and just keep doing TikTok. This is the other goal that he had in mind. Exactly how much he didn't mention.
So committed to making this his career. He wanted to generate an income and make this his career.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And through my own research above that case study is that TikTok pays 2 to 4 cents per 1,000 views. And again, as I mentioned, he is getting 160 million views a month. So if you do the math, 160 million divided by 1,000, and then multiplied by 0.02, he's making $3,200 a month.
So he's making
in the minimum
$36,000 a year. But think about this: he's got to create and or post 20 videos a day.
Yeah.
So it's not free work, right?
Yes.
I think that's the other funny thing. That's a conversation about the illusion of top producers. Top producers in any industry, in sales, in social media, they make it look so easy. You and I are doing a lot of video lately, a lot of video editing and that kind of stuff. I sent you a link this week to a couple YouTubers that have like some kind of simple ways to do your editing via your smartphone, right? And they're doing these little 5-minute videos right off their smartphone. They're not throwing them into editing software. They're just, it's just like this, bam, 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 click, click, click. Now these guys have posted, probably 1,000 videos, right? They've got 1,000 videos they created. I did a 5-minute video. It took me 4 hours to edit it yesterday. Right? They're literally shooting the video, editing it, getting the correct title sequence, the right ending sequence, all the codes, everything in there, and it's taken them maybe 20 minutes. So that's the difference, though, between a top producer, an expert, and the rest of us. Yet, if you look at what he thought, I guarantee you, if you said to that gentleman in the beginning, you're going to have to make 20 videos a day to make $36,000 a year, he probably would have said,
no. Yeah.
I'll go do something else. Right?
Yeah.
Now, let's make no mistake. He's building a brand for himself. He's building a social media following for himself. That's going to last many, many, many years. So the $36,000 a month he's making off TikTok is just a portion of some of the money he's making, because he's probably able to now do videos about, who knows, clothing, watch companies, sunglass companies. Yeah, all the passive advertising. So he has the ability to make millions. But again, if you said, like you said, how many videos you have to make on TikTok in order to make a living just off TikTok, probably not taking that journey.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in this conversation, because we kind of shifted conversations, like let's look at it. What we did is we went from perfectionism, this conversation about perfectionism, and now we're in this whole different conversation about kind of this long-term strategy view, right? This larger holistic strategy view in order to obtain tangible results, right? You
Yeah.
follow that?
Yeah.
See that transition?
I think also, just to add on this point, if you go to someone who is a true perfectionist and tell him make me 20 videos and tell him that I want those videos to be great, just that, nothing more. How
Yeah.
long do you think would it take him to do so? Other than another person that you will go ahead and tell him, I just want you to do 20 videos about this. That's it.
Yeah, the first person wouldn't get it done, right? Or here's what they'll do: they'll have a deadline of January 31st, and they'll call you and say it's going to be February 1st, and then it'll be February 3rd, and then it'll be February 7th. Does that sound familiar?
Yeah, it does. For those of you who are not following with this, that was that Sean is talking about the deadline for the episodes to be launched, and he's kind of I think he's talking about me though.
We got to get them out, right? You
Yeah.
got to get the videos out. You got to get your message out there. If it's not perfect, it's fine, because what you're doing is you're developing a image over time. You're improving. You're getting better every time you do it. Your message is getting clearer every time you do it. You're getting a little bit bigger every time. And you're really only failing when you stop, right? When you give up.
Yeah.
Not to sound like a quote or a bumper sticker, but that,
Yeah, it
all
sounds
right.
good.
I think we put a pin in that conversation. I think we got that dialed in. Can you think of anything else when it comes to perfectionism that we to talk about?
Honestly, no. Just the main thing that I want to really highlight on this point is if you're going to be doing anything, that you will be, you will need to look at it again once you get it done. First, again, ask yourself, is it 70% good? If and again, in most cases the question will be yes. And even if you said no, then your next question should be, okay, how can I make it 70% good? How can I make it better? What is it that is it missing? Is there someone else that I should get back to ask him about this? Okay, if I'm X and I'm this other person and looking at this, uh, what thoughts would I say about that? Not thoughts to stop me, but thoughts to improve me, right?
Okay, hold on. I want to pause right there because I want to make a really important point.
Okay.
This is called a post-mortem. This is after the activity is completed and out,
Yes, yes.
not prior to the activity going out. If you ask for third-party feedback, people are going to give it to you. Okay? They're going to give it to you because they love you. And
Yeah.
some people, I will tell you right now, some people's superpower is telling you all the shit you did wrong. Okay? And they are freaking masters of it. And they will tear you down. And sometimes you need to hear it, but not before you get your marketing out, not before you get your messaging out, not before you do your activities. It's a post-mortem, and go back and review. Right? Did your mailer, you did a mailing piece, review that mailing piece. What can be better, right? What can be improved? What can be changed? What can be updated? Ask some people for some feedback, and then adapt it to your next one. But if you ask for that feedback before out, like if you and I ask for somebody to give us feedback on this podcast, okay, before we posted it, this podcast would not go up.
I think so, yeah.
Right? It wouldn't. There's
Yeah.
no way. We would have people giving comments about, oh, the audio was off. Oh, the background wasn't perfect. The lighting wasn't great. The topic was here and there. It was jumping around. No, No, it just goes out, right? It just goes out. And you know what? In 6 months, we could revisit this conversation again, and we'll have a
Yeah.
different backdrop, different lighting, right? We'll have a different setup then, but right now it needs to go out because there's somebody out there that needs this message. So,
Yes.
somebody that is sitting here right now, and even if it's just one person who's going, that's exactly the message I needed to hear.
Yeah. Thank
Okay?
you, Mom.
25% of our 25% of our audience, one person, my mom, needed to hear this today.
I couldn't agree more.
That's right. That's right. All right, so we're going to end this one. We're going to end this episode. Let's give a big thanks to Mo for setting this up today, making sure we're on time, making sure our recordings go out
Yeah.
on time, every time. And stay tuned, and be sure, if you're not subscribed to the podcast, subscribe to the podcast or the YouTube channel, whichever you're watching or viewing on. And I promise you, we're getting better. We're going to get better at this.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're working on it. We're working.
Yeah.
So,
And again, as every episode, if any one of you have a question for Sean, make sure to go on LinkedIn or Twitter, #AskSean, and we will try to answer it as soon as we can. Or you can just ask the question in the YouTube comments if you are watching this on YouTube.
that's right. Or if you have any questions about all the stuff that's behind Mo on his shelves, you actually have an opportunity to win all of those prizes behind him on the shelf.
Only if you come to Egypt, you will.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, we'll see you later. Until next time, have a great day.
Thank you all.